I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have a situation where this is a person that met their ex online on a dating app. So this is much more common these days and times in 2018. So let's just get right into this one because I have a few things to do today outside of this. I have a few coaching sessions after this, and I'm pressed for time, so I'm not going to go into a big spiel here. Hi, Coach. I met my ex online this past June on a dating app. We connected fairly quickly and spoke for 2 weeks straight. We had one phone call that weekend before we were supposed to meet up for our first date. Dun, 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 the first date. Isn't that fun? You get all dolled up, you get all excited, you get as a man, you put the cologne on, you know. That, and people wonder why when you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship, like, what happened to our sex life? Well, what happened? Why? It's like, think about how much time and effort you put into getting ready for your first and second dates. Do you do that every time you meet someone you're with all the time? It's quite different, isn't it? You're at your best, right? After our first date, things moved pretty quickly. We became an official couple. I met his parents. That's serious. And he met nearly my entire family. When you're introducing people to your family, that's when you're really serious about someone. We also hooked up once. He shared with me that he was in a previous relationship in which he almost married that ex, but something went wrong. I never elaborated completely on what went wrong, he never elaborated completely on what went wrong, but that she really hurt him. Well, if it was the beginning of the relationship, at some point he probably would tell you, but if he didn't want to or he wasn't comfortable at the time, just leave it alone. I'm 25 and my ex is 24. We were together roughly 2 months in total. That's not very long to get to know someone. That's the honeymoon phase. Everything should be going good. But what happens is like little bits and pieces of the puzzle of someone who they really are. Because when you're dating the first month and 2 months, people sometimes put on a new persona or facade of who they are. Not everyone would, I'm always real. Well, think about before you go on your first date and you're putting on a bunch of makeup, or you're a guy and you're putting on cologne, you're trying to pour on some extra layers of goodness and betterness. And until you wake up next to that person with no makeup on or bad breath, then it kind of is like, oh, now I can kind of see that, you're human and you have some bad parts to you. And what I mean by that is personality-wise too. Some things come out of the cave. We've been broken up for almost 3 months. We do not live together. We did not live together. Well, you were only together 2 months, but I would spend nights and weekends at his house. This was somewhat a long-distance relationship with him living an hour away and working 6 days a week as a restaurant manager. Absolutely. Wow, 6 days a week as a restaurant manager. That is tough, man. I've had a lot of jobs when I was younger. And it's not because I lost jobs. It's just since I was 16 years old, I was working through school. But yeah, I worked at a restaurant before. The jobs like that are tough. They wear on you. You're dealing with people all day. So when you do meet who you're with, sometimes you're out of patience. You're tired. I mean, why 6 days a week? God damn. And then you got an hour drive, so you're expecting his best. So that would affect the relationship. This is not my first serious breakup, but it is the one breakup I would like to work on reversing if that is possible. Well, being that you only were together 2 months, I think that favors getting back together because, like I tell people, 2 months you don't have layers and layers of problems, okay? You don't have a lot of issues to be angry about, where if you're together 3 or 4 years and there's been an ongoing problem, someone just gets to a point where they're so fed up and you built a case about who you were and they're never going to believe you're different. Where if you're together 2 months, it's like something happened that was small or in an individual moment that can probably be reversed in some way or worked on. This is not my first year. When we first started dating, a female coworker of his added me on Facebook. I didn't think much of it until she started messaging me and telling me how great of a guy my ex was. Yeah, that is a bit strange. I'll tell you what, I've worked retail, I've worked at a restaurant briefly. Any workplace where he's a boss or he's got some power over some other people, there's probably 1 or 2 people of the opposite sex that are interested or attracted to him in some way. Just how it is. I asked my ex about this, and his words were, "Be careful, she's obsessed with me." Well, he's being honest. I mean, he can't help that. Since I'm trusting a person, I went along with this. However, a week or so before he decided to break up with me, he began to get cold and distant. Okay. He stopped responding as much to my text. Okay, but would be online on Facebook after telling me he was too busy to reply at the time. You don't know why he was on Facebook. You don't know what he was doing. You don't even know if he was active. So don't read too much into that. He eventually broke up with me over text message and refused to call me regarding this decision. He also immediately unfriended me on Facebook. Okay, I can see how this really hurt you and it left you in mystery because he doesn't even give you a. This is tough on people on a breakup. Even though usually I'm not very sensitive to 2 months, but when you have zero explanation and it comes out of nowhere, just smacks you in the face like that, you kind of are looking for answers, and this will keep you up at night thinking, what happened? What did I do? However, I'm still friends with his mom and cousin. I was so upset that I reached out to this coworker, and she revealed to me some romantic conversations she had with him while we were dating. I also noticed him paying attention to another ex of his on Instagram. Okay, don't take any of the shit from the coworker that as true or not true. I wouldn't fish around with that coworker because if it's true that she's obsessed and she liked him and she latched onto you, which is insecure and strange, who knows if she's conveying that she had a romantic conversation with him to keep you away from him or not. What are her intentions? You don't want to get wrapped up in that snake coil. But I would say that if you saw him paying attention to another ex on Instagram, that's certainly possible. But you should be off of all that stuff, and you shouldn't be cyber stalking. It's not healthy for you moving forward. This activity has only increased since he dumped me. You should not be tracking this. His reasons for dumping me were that we moved too fast. It scared him off into wanting to be alone, and he gave me the BS excuse that he wanted to work on himself and focus on shaping his body the way he wanted. Why is that BS? Because you don't like it? Bottom line, it's what he gave you. It's not a shitty reason. He's working 6 days a week at a restaurant, so that's going to come first. He doesn't have a lot of free time. He probably was feeling pressured to hang out with you. Like I said, if he's working that's 48 hours a week. If he's working an 8-hour shift, that's a lot of time. And like I said, when you come back from a restaurant shift or one of those things, I used to work in retail when I was in college, and it's hard. You're tired, man. You don't have a lot of patience, and you want his best, and it's not going to be there all the time. After a few days of not handling this well and begging just a little, I went into no contact. 3 weeks in, I reached back out because he lost his grandpa. Okay, if you're going to reach out because he lost his grandfather, you go in with no expectations. You just go in with empathy and compassion. Hey, I'm sorry to hear you lost your grandpa. You're not looking for brownie points or, I hope this gives me, he understands how much I care about him. You're just doing it as a human being with no expectations, saying, I'm really sorry to hear about your grandpa. After that, I went right back into no contact for another solid month. Is there still hope in getting him back? How can you go from being so in love with me to cold and distant? Is there hope? Yeah, sure, but you shouldn't be hoping and wishing. You should be moving on in your life. If he wants to contact you, he will. He had a strong interest with you, or he wouldn't have introduced you to his family. I think his job comes first right now if he's working 6 days a week, not 5, and he's a manager. How can he be so in love with me and so cold and distant? Well, bottom line is it was only 2 months, so you didn't really know who he was. You didn't know what happened in his past relationship. You didn't know the real him. You only saw a piece of it. So I would need to know more about him or his past relationships. But I'm guessing that he didn't have the time in his life, and like I said, you're exhausted from work, and then he's coming on you want to talk to him for an hour because you live an hour away. Hey, let's get on the phone. I wanted you to talk to me after work. He doesn't want to talk after work. He just wants to take it easy, maybe play around on Facebook, talk to some people and be more casual because he doesn't have the time and energy to be in a serious relationship that you're looking for. That's my take. I would have to know more about the situation if you want to do a live coaching, but I'm saying that working 6 days a week as a restaurant manager was highly affecting who he could be in a relationship and the time he was going to put into it. If you weren't living together and you lived an hour away, that means that you guys had to do a lot of phone time, and there's a lot of energy involved in that with no payoff. So I hope that helps you. Please visit writemac.com if you've got a breakup story to tell or share, or if you'd like to book a live coaching session with myself. Otherwise, thank you for supporting the channel.